This is by design a very select group, right? Mo neighborhoods. Thank you, Laura, for the title of the group. Right? You get all the accolades, credit, and copyright that goes with that, I guess. Mo neighborhoods. So it's a select group and very focused on Missouri, and it started originally by thinking about how we could better work together across the state. And was there opportunities there to maybe meet once a year, or is there interest in doing a conference or what that might look like? So this is the starting point. This is just the second meeting of the group, and a big part of it is getting to know each other and hear from others in the group, uh, to learn from what you're doing where you live, and growing in our trust and relationship together and seeing where that can take us. So thanks for jumping on today. I see Manchester, let's see, what, Jefferson City, Excelsior Springs, Springfield, Christian counties jumping on now, I see. So uh, a good smattering around the state. Um, so we'll just begin with just that open floor. What's going on in your city relating to neighbors and neighborhoods that you're excited about and would like to share with the group? We'd love to hear.
Well, in Excelsior Springs, we're going to launch Out and About in Your Neighborhood this year, which is the program created by Matt Evans out in Utah, where you just encourage everyone to go for a walk in their neighborhood on the first Sunday evening of the month. So this Tuesday night at City Council, our mayor is going to make a proclamation.
Oh,
And we copied the proclamation pretty much what the governor of Utah made a proclamation stating that the first Sunday of every month is go visit your neighbors. Is that what it is? Visit your neighbor's day in Utah. And so we just copied the proclamation and it's Visit Your Neighbor's Day in Excelsior Springs. We've launched a social media campaign to get the news out about going for a walk in your neighborhood on the first Sunday evening. And the other option is you can sit in your yard and greet those who are passing by. And you can even take that a step further and be a water station or a cookie station or something like that. And the Out About website, it's outabout.org. You can go to their website and you can drop your address as a pin in your neighborhood that shows everybody that you're a cookie station or a water station or whatever you want to be. This is just, I think it's a brilliant, brilliant idea. It's apparently really taken off in Utah. Provo is the latest big city to adopt it. But they've just had a real good response. And I think it's an outstanding, super easy program. So we're excited.
they've had several participants in Iowa as well. I think around.
Oh, okay.
I noticed last time I used the map in the fall. Iowa City. Maybe, I'm trying to remember which city it was, but there was four or five of them in one city there in Iowa. So kind of when you looked at the map, there was Utah, Iowa, and a little bit of a smattering across Missouri. So
Okay.
you're taking it to a whole new level and stuff. So in Excelsior Springs, are you starting with the first Sunday evening in March?
Yes. Yes.
Gonna
That's
brave the
what,
cold.
well,
Who
it's
knows?
60 degrees today. Who knows what it could be on March 1st? It actually, looking out at the 10-day, we're still going to be in the 50s to 60s. So we're having a very mild February up here. Um, I know you guys kind of got walloped
Yeah, oh,
here,
who
didn't
knows
you?
from day to day what it's going to be here? I mean, come on.
Um, well, so another thing that I manage is the Snow Angels program where we match a volunteer with someone who needs shoveling. And this came from Brady Porterfield out in Arvada.
Yes.
And so I keep a really close eye on the forecast because I got to be ready to contact those snow angels and say, hey, heads up, we're expecting snow in 5 days. If you can't do it, you got to find a substitute. So Yeah, I've never paid such close attention to on the possibility of oncoming snow as I do now that we've got the snow angels. And I used to love snow, and now I kind of dread it because I'm like, okay, there's going to be people who don't show up, and I got to find replacements, and yeah.
It's not
But
relaxing anymore.
it's not real. Snow is not relaxing anymore. The last snow day we had, we couldn't come to the office, but I was still at home on the phone and on the computer and emailing and texting, and so. But it's still a great program, and the people who are the recipients of that, they just, you know, gush with praise that, oh my goodness, the city is arranging these volunteers. So yeah, that's another great. I love to say every good idea we've ever implemented was somebody else's good idea first. And
Mhm.
just thanks to Brady for that whole snow angels. And we had somebody here say, well, we need a Mow Angels too. So this past year, we launched Mow Angels, and it's the same thing. It's, for people who are disabled or elderly or can't mow their yard, it just allows them to age in place that much longer and also keeps the code violations from cropping up against somebody that you don't want to send a letter to 87-year-old Mr. Jones who just had a knee replacement, you know, but he could call us and say, "Hey, I need a Mow Angel for 6 weeks until I recover from this or
Yeah.
whatever."
There
Laura,
used,
do you? I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
Laura, do you have information like on both of these? I love these ideas. And, we just had that huge snow. And so a big thing was that we had a lot of residents, older residents call in. And, our public works did a lot of things to help. But I love this idea. And I love it for the Mow Angels too, because again, the grass violations.
Yeah.
Would you be able to email me like information on those that you have,
Yep.
like
Yep.
how you deal with it? Okay.
Absolutely. What's your email?
Um, I'll email you after this and then you'll have
Okay.
it. But it's
Okay.
it's a Manchester. I think Dave's got me in a group email, but I've got
Yeah.
your email, so I'll send you a
So
note.
the key partnership here is the schools.
Okay.
Our high school has a community service requirement for graduation, and I think it's 10 hours, super easy. But what happens is April comes along and a bunch of kids realize, oh my gosh, I don't have my um, community service hours. So what I did last year was I went to orientation in August and I set up a table. They let me set up a table at orientation and I had a poster for snow angels and a poster for mow angels and said, I can help you get your community service hours. And as the parents are taking their kids through orientation, they see that and they're like, oh, yes, sign me up. So, and be sure
Love
you
that.
get the parents' information because the kids are going to ghost you.
Hmm.
Just
Well,
found that out this year.
I'm using some of our National Honor Society kids for some of our events to help me with those for them to get their volunteer hours. But I know like our A+ program and all. I love how you did that at the school, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
The
take this idea.
administration, yeah, the administration of this at the school, they're looking for ways to help kids get those hours. So any program you're doing, I'm going to ask for some kids to help hand out the door hangers to launch our out and about in your neighborhood because we're making door hangers for every residential door. And so we need kids in every neighborhood that can walk around and hang them up.
Dang, how can I live in Republic, Excelsior Springs, and Manchester all at the same time? Golly.
Well, everything is duplicatable. All of these things are easy to, okay, so we're a lot smaller. How big is Republic?
Uh, 22,000,
Okay,
but
yeah.
growing rapidly, growing about 14% a year.
Shoo. Okay, well, we've been stuck at 10 to 11,000 for quite a while, which, is a little more manageable. Um, Doing these things to scale, I don't know how Arvada's pretty big city. So that's Snow Angels. That's got to be a lot of time commitment.
And
I
of
mean,
course,
we're 18,000, and I think that we could, I think this would go up like a hit. But yeah, I mean, it takes a little
Yeah.
bit of work, but I think the, return on investment for this and, how it would be with our community is just amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing that's helpful too, we found, and we're learning a lot in our first couple of years of doing this, is most of these kids can't drive yet or don't have cars yet. And especially in a snow event, you don't want them out driving. So matching them with someone within walking distance is
Mm,
really helpful to make sure that the thing gets accomplished.
that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Well, the
Laura,
other
I'm
advantage,
gonna, go ahead, David.
no, jump in there.
Oh, I'm gonna pop my email address in the chat because I would also love to connect with you about that because here in Springfield, our groups of neighborhoods are currently trying to form a mowing program like that for those who are disabled or are having an event where, we don't want to get a citation from the city. And I think we're kind of overcomplicating the process right now because we've been brainstorming it for months and months and months. And so I'd love to just connect with you about that sometime. So I'm just going to put my email in the
Sure.
chat.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, a couple of things that might be helpful, a couple of notes. One, you mentioned Brady and Arvada and the Snow Angels. Keep in mind, Arvada, Colorado had a culture of neighboring
Hmm.
before the city got involved. That's not poo-pooing Brady's work at all. I'm just saying there was a culture there. That was, if you've ever read the book, The Art of Neighboring, Dave Runyon is from Arvada, Colorado. And that came out 15
Right
years.
here.
Yeah, that came out 15 years ago. So this all, bubbles from that. So it didn't happen overnight. It grew out of that experience. So uh,
Yeah.
it's a,
What I did with this was I bought a copy for each minister. And again, we have only had, 20 churches, but our ministerial alliance is pretty active. And I believe so strongly in the concept of this book that I personally bought a copy for each minister and went to the ministerial alliance meeting and handed them each a copy of this. And some of them did. There's like a series, they asked the preachers to do a sermon series on loving your neighbor and
yeah.
talking practically about what that looks like when church members, are active in their neighborhood, engaging their neighbors.
Well, it impacted me. I got to the end of chapter one and went, oh gosh,
Yeah.
I'm a horrible neighbor.
I'm a horrible neighbor. I know it's
I, I thought it was great. Turns out I'm not. So very impactful. But the other thing I'll mention on the mowing, and I'm just making sure they're still active. Uh, there's a nonprofit out of Alabama called Raising Men and Women Lawn Care Service. It's a long name. The guy that started it's from the Bahamas, I think, originally part of why that name ended up like that. It is still active, and they do a 50-yard challenge. He's still very active on Facebook. I am not, um, but and he really began at grassroots, and now Toro is their big sponsor, and so youth can sign up through that Facebook page. I think there is a website. I'll drop the website in here, and they sign up. And if they mow 50 yards, he personally delivers to them a mower, a trimmer, and a blower donated by Toro. So we tried this a couple of years ago in Republic, and I don't think the city was rather half-hearted about it. And we got a couple of kids to participate. I don't know if they reached that 50 level or not, but it sounds like Laura, you have a much better organized system that there with that. And Lisa, that might, it's kind of an extra incentive. Not only could some kids that
Mhm.
really wanted to go after it get their um, hours in, they could also
Yeah,
earn a new mower and stuff. Let me
that'd be
drop.
a great thing to create a poster and take it to orientation with a QR code. These kids do everything by QR code. So whatever you do, put a QR code on it and they'll go to the link. But you've got to say, you stand here and do it here in front of me. Because as soon as they walk away from your table, it's gone. But yeah, that's another thing, especially if they're standing there with their parents. Um, I can see parents, encouraging this too, and the
Yes.
school would be supportive of it.
Yeah, it's a
Love it.
501c3, and it really and the yards that you mow have to be for elderly or disabled people. You can't just go mow your parents' yard 50 times or something.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now I see on the website also includes single parents or veterans.
Yeah.
But you can sign up and you get a shirt when you initially sign up, and just a lot of perks and incentives that kind of help keep some of those kids going with that. So thanks for bringing that up. It's a great uh, program, great efforts. Well, man, we've just got through Laura, what other ideas to share? And we're kind of saving Lisa here for the caboose to come up, but what other ideas and things to share from groups? What else going on?
Well, we are going to do our Mayor's Block Party Challenge again this year. And
Go
last
big or go
year,
home.
yeah, that's right. Last year, the mayor challenged our residents to have 50 block parties between Easter and Halloween. And we made it with 51 in the very last week. But this year, we're going to challenge, the mayor is going to challenge the neighbors to have at least one block party in each subdivision. And we're going to create a map that they can go to online, of course, by QR code. We're going to make some signs to see if we can get a block party happen. Because we had one neighborhood that had like five, which is great, fantastic. But we have other neighborhoods that we know. Maybe that's the incentive that they need. Like, okay, I don't want my neighborhood to be the one on the website that doesn't have a block party scheduled. So that's the other thing we're going to do this summer. And when we get a chance, I want to ask you, David, some questions about the art week, art month.
Art month now. We just agreed on that
Yes, I
yesterday.
saw that that email this morning.
That took some arm twisting to get to, but we did finally have a breakthrough when I did point out the fact that we've always called it Art Week, but it actually includes 2 weeks. So
It does. And
why not make it a month?
yeah, we had a huge event on June 20th last year where four murals were placed downtown. And I'm like, if I had no idea it was going to happen. And so, but if I like
We need to
the
celebrate that. Yeah.
with Missouri Good Neighbor Week, how it's, a year of activities and a week to celebrate. So is Missouri Art Week or Neighborhood Art Week going to be kind of the same thing? Celebrate all the art that's happened in the past
Yeah,
year,
I
kind
think
of?
we've agreed upon that all the art in the past year could be entered in and included in Show Me Neighborhood Art Month for
Okay.
the prizes. Now, other groups may want to, create something during that month, and that's great. The emphasis is still on public art and public art displays, and hopefully they're accessible during that month. But like a mural, it's accessible for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So, but it, be emphasized during that month. So, and we're trying to tie some educational events throughout the year to that, um, as part of the marketing plan. True, but also to draw more emphasis to that month of celebrating public art. And it's art items that are registered and displayed during that month also count as points toward the most neighborly city category under Missouri Good Neighbor Week as well.
Cool.
You
So
heard
is it possible to get a package of promotional um,
it will
materials
be.
for that, like the social media campaign and such? Because we've got an artist group here, group of artists that have their own little gallery downtown. And I think they'd buy
It
in.
will. It will be. I just talked with the guy on campus that's going to help me with creating some of those. I'm not in charge of his timeline and schedule, um, but he knows I'd like to have it sooner than later.
Yeah.
So um, it's a little piecemeal because we're kind of doing it by regions internally, and things, but we'll have some of that available. We're just trying to tie those things together. And part of why, you probably, know this, is a lot of research, and then our own research has shown that art helps increase a person's sense of belonging and a sense of place. And those are both relevant and directly relevant to neighboring and neighborhoods. So it can help strengthen how people feel about where they live and to what degree they want to be involved. So, plus it's, pretty and fun to do and all those things too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it'll be a month now, and those activities do earn cities points toward the most neighborly city category as part of Missouri Good Neighbor Week. The two are kind of being linked together. What else? Anything out of Christian County or anywhere else? I see Brenda's muted and off camera, so she may only be able to listen. I don't know if she can say anything or not. She's probably multitasking if I know her. She's probably doing something and trying to listen here at the same time. So
We're going to do, so if you know National Night Out, we reschedule ours. We don't do it on the day that National Night Out does theirs. Um, we do ours in coordination with National Good Neighbor Day. So this year it falls on, I think, September 26th is the Saturday
Mhm.
that's closest to National Good Neighbor Day. But yeah, we do a block party downtown on that Saturday night, and it's a celebration of first responders. So we kind of renamed so that we didn't get in trouble with National Night Out. We renamed ours Excelsior Springs Night Out Against Crime so that the whole focus is on first responders. And we have the child, what's it called? The Masons come and do the child registration where parents get a little
Mhm.
card that
mm-hmm,
has the
mm-hmm.
photo and stuff on it. And the school resource officers are there doing a bunch of fun stuff. We have the highlight of the evening is tug of war between the fire department and police department, and super fun.
That's awesome. Well, I mention a couple things real quick, and then we'll hear from Lisa if no one else has items to share. I love that we got some connections going on here. And oh yeah, Brenda is listening while staying on another call. But loving the Snow Angels, the Mo Angels. Christian County's been kicking off a campaign this year related to Missouri Good Neighbor Week. So I'm still working to update the website for Missouri Good Neighbor Week, but just making you aware that we're adding some new categories and awards this year. We're going to add a youth award to recognize some youth involvement in neighboring. As well, we're continuing the Most Neighborly Business Award. Working on a few details on that, hoping to see that expand. Those surveys are going to be opened, or those nomination slots are going to be opened up in March. Again, fitting with this idea of a year of neighboring, a week to celebrate it. So, trying to get people to do nominations, to do reporting of acts of neighboring and things kind of all year long, right? As part of that, although special things can still happen during that week. I mentioned the youth, and then I think the one I wanted to mention with this group is it was suggested last year. I didn't do it, but is to do uh, the most neighborly neighborhood award, not with nominations, but kind of an application process that neighborhoods can apply. Not making an overly complicated application, but maybe something has a couple of letters of support, something to qualify it a little bit more. I'm probably giving that more of a deadline, like toward the end of August, with the thought that maybe those on this call, those that are gathering together, uh, get you copies of those applications, and that as a group we could kind of make that decision on who we would deem to be the most neighborly neighborhood in Missouri. You'll have a little prize money behind it and an award of some sort. Of course, the city that it's in gets bonus points, so we may have Lisa and Laura arm wrestling over something. I don't know.
As long as neighbors are getting connected, I mean, that's just the whole point. The recognition is great. And I think what we're realizing when it comes to the recognition is that it sends a message to our residents
Yes.
that where they live is special and that neighboring makes it better. And I hadn't thought of it through that lens before, but that your biggest critics are your own residents.
Mm-hmm.
And the more good things they see,
Yes.
hopefully changes their perspective.
Yes. And that connecting with neighbors and things is normal.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
because the culture, has shifted, saying you got to fear your neighbors. They're all crazy. They're all opposite of you. Uh, the HBO series coming out about neighbors. That's what it feeds on. They're all, they're all nuts. Just avoid them. But we're saying, connecting with your neighbors is a normal and good thing.
Did you see the Super Bowl commercial
I
about the little
did.
girl? As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I hope David saw that.
That is so funny, Laura. I bet I got 10 text messages in the next minute from people saying, "Did you just see the commercial?"
Yeah,
I
it was
did.
great.
And of course, Rocket is a competitor for the company that my son works for. So I couldn't celebrate the family too much. But
Ah,
uh, yeah, I thought it was tremendous. I loved it.
yeah.
I was glad to see that. So, but with that neighborly neighborhood, I know we had talked about maybe getting together in some point in person. I don't know if there's still interest in doing that or if that's premature. If we, at this point, maybe that's the time we get together to go over applications in person and arm wrestle over the winter, or whether another time. Another opportunity maybe to get together is the um, creating entrepreneurial communities conference that takes place, and I think there's going to be at least one neighboring workshop again this year for that. It's in
Yay.
Maryville, which I know you know couldn't hardly be much further for me, and some others, but may, and that's not until September, of course. But as far as, like, because our goal, I think, was to have like an person gathering sometime in the year.
Mhm.
Maybe that's a starting point. Maybe we one of those evenings when it's dinner on your own. All the neighboring people hang out, or maybe we hang out a little bit longer on the afternoon after it closes, after it ends, after the noon speaker, or something like that, instead of, so there's more of a purpose in our
Mhm.
traveling this year until the group grows a little bit more.
I love that idea. I hated that I missed that conference last year because of our coverage. But I know that for me, I would just love to be able to connect in person and just, the energy it gives me just to hear these ideas, from different people, and that, is great. So I would love to do something like that.
Me too.
Well, it's a fun time. That seems like a good connection. That would be kind of a win-win for the whole group. And we'll try and do the voting, the selection of the most neighborly neighborhoods in an online meeting. Then get everybody in the group the applications and meet online. Well, I think that's about all the big details from me. But I really set up Lisa because I think we talked last time, or at least the notes that my AI companion took for me told me that we talked about it. Um, to hear more about Love Your City event in Manchester. Um, so, Lisa, no pressure, right?
I know it was funny. Megan sent me a text last night after I'd left, and she goes, "Hey, so you're speaking tomorrow?" I go, "Huh?" And she goes, "You're speaking to a work group on our initiative." And I go, "Oh, I didn't know that." But I'm like, I said, "Well, we've talked about it." I said, "So David probably just wanted me to give an update and stuff." So, I'm glad she texted me because I always love to. And I hadn't looked because I was going to basketball games, so I was leaving the office early. But
Well, I confess, I'm sorry. February 12th, or
no,
whatever today is, February
listen,
13th, absolutely snuck up on me.
the mayor puts me on the spot all the time, where he'll say, "Oh, tell us about this." So I'm very much used to it. It never bothers me. So never feel like you can always put me on the spot for something. So when we talked last time, I had talked about an initiative that's done in Eureka Springs, and they call it Love Letters to Eureka. And they do it in February, kind of because, Valentine's, you got that love month. Um, So we wanted to kind of do something around that. Originally, we thought maybe we would call it Love Letters to Manchester. And I guess something I would encourage everyone is when you have a new initiative you want to do, is sometimes to vet like how you want to brand or word that initiative. Because whereas I didn't see anything necessarily like that bothered me about Love Letters to Manchester, when it was vetted through, several department heads, it kind of was like, I'm just not sure about this. And it was more like these letters, something to toot our horn. We want people to just talk about, what we do great. And that really isn't the purpose of these letters. These letters are to talk about the community you love, what makes it so special, what memories, what people, what school. So I took and kind of renamed it to Dear Manchester. And
I like that.
yes, and I actually really I like that better. It just for me, I still think it has that sweet type of thing to it. So we started advertising it to do it February 1st through the 28th. And so to make it easy, people can email me in their letters, or I have I took a Santa mailbox and I've done hearts on it and everything, and I've made it like a Valentine's mailbox. And if kids bring in letters to me, they get a little treat bag. And then I went to one of our businesses, Culver's, and I asked for custard tokens so they can get a treat bag of treats they can get a free custard at Culver's. So I always try to figure out a way to involve our business partners. So now it's the middle of the month. These letters are starting to trickle in. I got several this morning. I would love to see 100 letters. I know I always think big. But we have scheduled our Justice Center, which is where we have all of our Board of Aldermen, our court and things like that. We are going to do an exhibit of these letters, and I'm going to do some phrases around just neighborly and community to go in that exhibit. And that's going to be in March and April. So I'll be sure to share some pictures. But if anyone wants, to see any of my like marketing materials, or I actually have a template I'm throwing a lot of these letters into. If you want to see those with some of the letters, I have no problem emailing them in. It's a new initiative. So, I feel like it's always hard. I had to really reach out to some people personally, like people that had done block parties last year and said, hey, remember I helped you with your block party. Love to have you do this. I also reached out, not just to residents, but to our businesses. I am really big, because that's part of my job, about making our businesses realize the importance of neighboring. And that, because it's not just our residents that need to know it. So I have letters from some of our businesses. And that I also asked some of our community partners. So I've got some letters coming in from them. So I'm going to see how it is, with any new thing. It just, I think the success of it for this year determines whether I can get the buy-in to pull this back. There's not much investment in it. I mean, honestly, I refigured a mailbox. Took me a few minutes. So I'm very creative. I just did a template and I did a few marketing materials and stuff. I've got signs out on stuff, but other than that, and the cost to get some little treats for kids that bring it in, I mean, very minimal. I mean, I think like, $25 of cost. And I think the visual at the exhibit is where it's really going to have that impact. And I plan to use these letters kind of to tell our story a little bit throughout the year and that. So, I'm one today from a business owner. It kind of gave me goosebumps. And so that's the type of letters that I just love and that. So that's that initiative. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but I got other things going on too. So
I love how, you're already thinking about how that has an ongoing purpose, right? And just encouraging, it's another way to encourage interaction between residents in the city as well.
And I did reach out to all of our schools that are within our city. So I sent each of those principals and even our high school principal, I sent them, an email with the information and said, hey, I would love or welcome any of your teachers or classes that would love to do this. I'll come pick it up. I also have a nonprofit that does with adults that have developmental disabilities. They do a big day program. And I reached out to them and they were like, yes, this is something great, because these can be done
Uh-huh.
from, youngsters to old people. But, I really try to think about who are our people in our community, and so, I've reached out to several resources, and so I'm hoping I haven't heard back on any of our schools, but I'm hoping maybe a couple of our teachers will, take that on. When I did that email, I said, hey, here's what I'm doing. And, I'd love for your students to do it. I'll even stop by, pick them up, and think about, is there something that you would like to have presented to your students? So, I'm asking them something, but I also said, I'd love to come and, if you've got a career day, or if you guys want to know more about our community and our businesses, feel free to use me as a resource. So I use it again to connect with them. So,
Yeah.
and so
I,
I'm hoping it's going to be huge.
I love the name change. I think that's a
Yeah,
great.
I do too.
I
I
do
do too.
too.
I like it
Yeah.
so much better than the original.
Yeah.
I
I
I did.
struggled with it for a while, and then I had like so many ideas, and then finally I was like, you know what? Me and Megan sat and I'm like, I really love Dear Manchester. And so I just figured something we can build upon.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
your name in it and stuff that way. I do have to
Mhm.
confess, we're among friends, so I'm going to tell this. I had to chuckle a little bit with that, um, because I'm working on a fictional book that was about my experience as a small town weekly newspaper editor, where I did have threats against my life. And the name of the book is actually Dear Editor, You're Dead. So uh, I, I'm hoping you don't get those kind of letters.
Oh my gosh.
I
What
haven't yet.
what what are you going to do with the letters that might be like criticism and things of that
So,
nature? Or
you
like,
know, I mean, I think that some criticism is always good, because I think that we can take that and I can present that to leadership and say, here are some areas that we kind of got a little criticized on. How can we improve upon this? Obviously, for the exhibit, we did say we'll do select ones. I don't necessarily want to have ones on exhibit that say, hey, we're terrible and stuff. But I think that, we can only get better by having some criticism. So I haven't, I think it would depend on the type of criticism on whether we'll display them, but I don't think those ones are just going to be thrown to the side. Like, I want a solution for them if there is
mhm,
an issue.
yeah, Dear Manchester. Okay, is there y- there's going to be some stuff on the city website over that, perhaps, or
Yep,
city
I have
newsletter?
actually
You already got it?
it's all under our civic season. So this year, all of our neighboring stuff kind of we put under that. So I've got stuff on the website. There's stuff that's out on Facebook, on our digital boards. And like I said, I'm willing to share all my materials that, if someone wants to duplicate, I even thought it would be neat to do during Good Neighbor Week, not just, I love the Valentine's idea because I feel like this time of the year is a little bit slow. But for me, because I deal with our businesses also, I'm doing business licenses. So I'm doing the renewals. And so it's a very busy time for me, but this is an easy initiative to kind of still keep things at the forefront.
Yeah,
It's a great idea. I think it's a
wonderful.
great idea.
Yeah.
I'll be excited to hear about the results and see
Yes.
level of participation too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Another big thing we're doing in a couple weeks, there's two big things that I'm working on, is a slice of history. And so that's kind of more geared towards our civic season, but it's kind of got a little twist to it. So I saw it through I don't know, one of those civic group sites where they do, history, and they have pizza. But I didn't just want that, because for me, I'm always looking about ways to engage different demographics, having new people at events that can do neighboring. So we have someone from the St. Louis Museum come in. They will only talk for about 10 minutes about St. Louis. And then I'm doing history rounds. So I'm doing a couple rounds on, I've got one that's like show me the loo, and it's all pictures of St. Louis sites. And then it's all about St. Louis. And then there's a show, something like show me what you know, and that's all show me Missouri, Missouri history. But then I've got one that's local. I have all local places that they'll have to identify, or local trivia. So we're doing this completely free. And we sent it out to HOAs and neighbors and said, invite your neighbors, have a table. And that we're providing pizza. They can bring their own drink. And I reached out to our businesses. And so I have some amazing prizes and stuff. But this event, I truly am using it to bring in some new faces to our neighboring and civic season things. So I think I have capacity for about 100. It's about 100 people. And I've just got, I think maybe 3 tables left. And that. So this is something completely new. And, I'm hoping that it also helps us to promote more of that neighboring, but it's bringing in a different group of people than our usual events. And that's what I'm looking to do. I'm bringing in, kind of a little bit younger demographic, I think, to this one. So
Cool.
That's
and
fine.
and then I'm doing my building belonging, which I did last year, which is our kind of our block party on the city hall lawn, where I invite like HOAs or subdivisions to come learn about how to do simple events in their neighborhood, or in the community, or to even do something a little bit bigger. I have a guide. I have fun games and stuff that I show them. So that's being done in April this year. Because last year we did it in July, and there was a lot of people on vacation that wanted to attend it. So we wanted to repeat it. And last year we did a game, like a clue concept, where people tables drew different things, like, your party's going to be in a common area. You have a $50 budget. Your struggling thing is it's going to rain. Your people that you're trying to market to maybe are families. So we had all these different factors, and your cards mix up kind of like Clue, and each table presented their party during this event. And so it was really kind of neat to play up a game that we created. So I'm probably going to do that again, because every game could be completely different, and people loved having to think outside of the box. So those are my big things right now. And then I've got lots of stuff at the end of the year.
I remember that you sharing about that before.
Yes.
About the
Yeah.
clue, and I guess it fell off my radar because it had already happened, maybe. But that's a really interesting, creative idea. I think that's probably unique to Lisa and Manchester.
Well,
That-
and
You said that's
Megan,
called- You
we
said it's called building belonging.
yeah, it's
I love
so
that.
the event, I call it building belonging together.
Building
And
belonging.
so that's kind of what I called it last year. And anyone can come. You don't have to be an HOA trustee. You could just be someone within a neighborhood that wants to learn how to, just put lawn chairs out with a fire pit and invite people. Or you want to learn different ideas, like I did, different ideas you could do within your community, like painted rocks and putting them out. And so everyone left with a painted rock. I actually painted all these rocks with
Word.
stuff. And then I had different games. So I showed them how to do inexpensive games I chalked stuff, got stuff at the dollar store. I'm a big Pinterest person, and I had a whole guide about everything. So from that, we saw, gosh, I don't know how many, I'd have to look at my report, but we saw a huge increase in block parties and neighborhood parties after that from people that attended it.
It helps reinforce the idea that this really is a simple thing. Don't overcomplicate it, right?
Exactly. And I told him, I said, this could be very simple, or you can have it bigger. And, and I also, people will actually reach out to me, and I kind of help them. Like I went out to a neighborhood, and we talked about like where would be the best place to actually host, an event. And there was things that they didn't think about that I was like, okay, think about this with your people coming, or, think about this if you've got kids come in, and, if they wanted to do a street closure, so, it was an exciting event. I kind of market it as this isn't your typical city meeting. And people would laugh, but they loved it.
It's not your typical city
I'm
meeting.
not your I'm not your typical city person, so I think because of the energy I bring, it just, it's kind of I try to make everything a little bit fun.
This is not off the topic. You mentioned it, but just an aside, I guess. You mentioned you had painted rocks for everybody. What tips do you have about painted rocks? I mean, it's kind of an art thing that people love to do, and you see them around
I
parks
bought
and
the
different
rocks.
things.
I
You
didn't go
bought
collect the
rocks?
rocks. I bought rocks so that they're nice round ones. You can buy them in boxes, bulk on Amazon. And I bought them so they would be nice and round. I just used regular, you can buy it cheap at Walmart, acrylic paint. But I do a glaze. I either spray them with a protective coating or I paint them with a protective coat. Now, I love to
Okay.
paint and do creative stuff. So this was not a hard task for me to do. But some of them were, thinking of you. Some were just like they had a rainbow and just, I had all these little messages on them, are grateful for you. And we had people take them and we said, put it around your neighborhood somewhere for someone else to find it. And then I had them laying out on our city hall yard in different places for people to see out there also.
Okay. So you did put like a polyurethane seal on it or
Yeah,
something
I
then.
normally spray it. It's easier just to spray it. That way the paint doesn't, and they'll stay longer. I have several in my yard that people have switched out and stuff. And, gosh, I've got one that's probably been there, people have switched it in and out between different yards in my neighborhood probably for a couple of years.
Okay. Well, I guess my other aside over the history and pizza. Are you asking? You're asking questions of people too, like participants.
Yeah.
Is this like a trivia
It is. But it's
thing?
not like, when you think about that trivia event that you pay to go to and it's like, cutthroat, it's not necessarily like that. So we have tables of 8, or you can sign up as an individual or 2 people, and I'll put you in a table with different people, so that you can get to know people within your community. And so
Okay.
the way we're going to do it, because we're not charging, and but we wanted to have prizes because my businesses have really stepped up on prizes, like some amazing things. So each person that comes automatically gets a ticket for coming, and then we'll have the rounds. And at the table that wins the round, everyone at that table will get an additional ticket to go in the thing. And then at the end of the night, I will draw out tickets based on how many prizes I have. So completely
Okay.
free. We're providing the pizza. Actually, our most neighborly business, when I went to him, I kind of asked some of our businesses, especially because we're very multicultural here. I said, hey, I want to do a taste of Manchester with different things in baskets from some of our businesses so that people that come can learn more about the businesses within our community. But I went to our most neighborly business and he gave me stuff. And then he said, Lisa, I want to donate some food for this event. So not only am I having pizza, but I'm also going to have some gyros and these really special little treats that people love from Mideast Market for everyone to sample at the event. And so I really encourage to reach out to businesses because like my local Papa John's, they have been such a good advocate at my Build and Belonging last year. I
Hmm.
wanted to give prizes out that encouraged people to neighbor. So people won like coupons to get a couple large free pizzas so that they could invite their neighbors over to have pizza. But like Papa John's reached out to me and said, hey, we saw this in our business license stuff. We want to donate some pizzas and we want to donate some door prizes. And so I've got a lot of very, very generous businesses in our community that, love to be involved. And the fact that I deal with neighboring and I deal with businesses, I can connect them all and really push that love local also.
What I'm most sad about is that we don't have 100 other people on here from Missouri
We'll get there.
to hear
We'll
you,
get there, David.
hear
We'll
you and
get
Laura
there.
both. I mean, because
I know.
I'm thinking if you're not excited about these things yet, you sure really would be now. Uh,
Oh,
used to
I
work.
think people, like I'm always so passionate, when I talk about things and Megan is, me and Megan will geek out together. And I don't think people really understand, I'll talk to my husband about something and it's like I'm talking a foreign language to him. He comes to the events, he support, but it's not that same passion. But I think if you love it and you love your residents and just um you see the results, you can't help but to be very, excited about it.
well, I think there are people that are there, but maybe they've been at it for a while and they feel a little bit defeated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just some of the negativity or social media criticism, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, not all neighborhoods are happy and fun to work with,
No.
and so I think some of that can get a little discouraging too. And you're both, when you can kind of hear a fresh perspective, I hope that breathes
You
some new
know,
life into people.
and that is hard because, me and Megan were talking yesterday. She went to something last week and there was several other individuals from different cities or counties and they were talking about different things. And she said, I felt like, and I'll use her words, a Pollyanna, because she's like, I had this excitement and the things that we do. And they were all kind of like, yeah, no, we only deal with the residents if they have, the residents only want this from us and stuff. And so a whole different, she goes, I came out of it and was like, it brings you down and stuff. And then, and then we have to remind each other and bring each other. That's why I love that Laura was sharing her activities because like I've already written like probably 2 pages of notes on different things that
I've got more than a page of notes over everything you just said too. What is your job title, Lisa? What is your job
it's
with
community development coordinator. So, and they kind of
coordinator?
Yeah, so they kind of created mine based on wanting to the businesses needed some kind of help with connections and retention and just some of the tasks related to them. So I help them with everything from getting their reoccupancy and permitting to getting their business license, ribbon cuttings, the whole 9 yards. But then the other 50% I work with
Mm,
HOAs and the residents and on various different civic season initiatives. And I like that I do two different things because I'm looking at ways to connect both of those. And so I love it. I mean, no day is the same for me in my job.
So that's
But
the thing that I think is a unique challenge is my title is neighborhood specialist, and I work in the community development department, partnering with the code officer. The whole point in the beginning was they wanted someone who could resolve code issues without tickets, like doing the snow angels, finding ways to get volunteers to help people resolve code issues. And that was the beginning of my job. And your job is unique too. I've never heard of a city that has someone that specifically helps businesses with their licensing and permitting and stuff. And we have a finance department that has
right.
somebody that processes the business licenses, but she's not proactively going out and saying, "Hey, I'm your partner with the city."
Mhm.
So that's a message that I think is helpful to get out to city
mm,
governments
mm,
is
Mhm.
having somebody in this position who can promote neighboring, promote connection between businesses and residents that's
mm,
beyond just economic is
Mhm.
going to benefit your city in a lot of ways.
And
mm,
our finance department did do the business licenses. That originally was not going to be part of my role. But the struggle that we ran into was like some of them wouldn't get their correct, permits. And then it was like you had to deal with me for this, them for this. And so it was nice to have someone that you can deal with for the full circle. And so when I have businesses come in now, like I generally, our front desk clerk, they'll walk in, I'm like, oh no, that's so and so, and I come out and I
Yes.
chat with them and stuff. And I spend at least one afternoon a week out in the community. I am visiting businesses. When I talk with businesses, I'm talking about what we're doing with residents. When I'm talking with residents, I'm talking about our businesses. And so it benefits both.
I love that.
This is something that would, I think, be a great thing to if we get a a opportunity in front of the community, the connecting entrepreneurial communities
Yes.
to promote this idea of, do you have someone in your city whose
Mhm.
job it is
Ooh.
to connect residents, connect businesses, to promote these things. What is civic season? That's a phrase I'm not familiar with.
So, you can kind of make it your own. A lot of places will do civic season between June 19th and July 4th. And it's basically all of those events that kind of make you think about your involvement, in government things, or what can you do to get involved in those type of things. We kind of feel like our civic season expands to more net. So the past 2 years, civic season for us went from election day to July 4th, and it cut off. But then I had my neighboring events. So now we have made all of these other events part of our civic season, because these events, as you get people involved, they are more likely to do their civic duty of voting or being involved or want to be on a board or commission. And so we see that deep connection of neighboring with civic season. So we've really expanded ours. Ours, I feel like, is nothing like what some of the civic season groups kind of advertise for it. We've kind of done a creative touch and really kind of made it more like your duty, part of your civic duty is being a good neighbor. And so that's a big thing for us. And that so I think it's something you can make your own, but it is kind of popular. A lot of cities really on the East Coast are real big about doing the civic season in those big museum and historical areas.
Okay.
Megan was really our person, our Board of Aldermen for Ward 2. She was really big about, she started this, for me and stuff. And then when my role kind of was established, we decided that I would work with her on that. And then we've just really it's just like exploded. This year I have a whole year of events on our event calendar.
Well, I'm glad
You guys
Laura
are doing
mentioned it.
awesome stuff.
Laura mentioned it earlier, and I'll be sure and send it to you, Lisa. But Laura was right. What you're doing with business community and how you're tying those two together, that would be a great presentation, a great workshop at the CEC conference in Marysville.
It would.
I feel like not enough
Totally.
cities look at that benefit and stuff. And I think because I don't come from working in a city environment originally, I've worked in corporate, I've worked in nonprofit, but I also was on a growth association board. And so I have a very diverse background. And so I am one of those people that I like to think outside of the box. And this role, when we discussed it, I was super excited because it is so different, but it's such a neat way to, really kind of involve everyone. And it's really made a difference.
Well, they're accepting proposals for workshops now. So I'll send that to you. I don't remember what the window is for the cutoff, but you should totally apply and submit. And so I know I submitted one related to neighboring, and I've now forgotten the topic I submitted. I don't know why I've just suddenly drawn a complete blank on that. It's not the same thing as last year. It'll hit me here probably about 2:30 in the morning. Anyway, before we jump off, Angela, you've been sitting and smiling and listening and absorbing. Do you have anything you want to share or jump in here? We've just been chattering on, and we're glad to. Angela's in Springfield, Missouri, by the way, and she works with the community partnership of the Ozarks, and they certainly, she provides leadership for the neighborhood associations that are here, and she has a lot going on. I know.
Yeah, so just to give a little bit of context to my role is I'm a community development specialist at a nonprofit here in Springfield. Now we do have a couple people who work with neighborhoods on city staff that I am able to basically provide support to the leaders of neighborhoods that are already established. So doing a lot of educational opportunities. So one thing that I'm partnering with David coming up at the end of March, we are doing a conference style thing where we are David's bringing in a speaker who will talk about volunteerism, because most neighborhood led events, all neighborhoods are completely volunteer based. And you see a lot of volunteers that burn out really quickly because they find somebody who's willing to do something and they latch on because volunteerism,
Mhm.
especially since COVID, has just drastically gone down. And so, kind of trying to help neighborhoods find those ongoing volunteers that will partner with them. And then something that I've been working on is I'm going to lead a session in strategic planning because a lot of neighborhood associations and neighborhood groups they will gather together every month and then they'll kind of just complain about well we have speeding on this road and or it'll be like a social hour which is great if that's what they want to do. But I think a lot of neighborhoods could really be revitalized by ideas and ways that they could move forward. Um, and so, okay, here's how you create a strategic plan. Here's how you create a mission statement, a vision statement. Here's how you create like objectives and goals. And then here's how you create a plan for that. So, trying to help neighborhoods create that plan for going forward to see that growth is something that we're kind of focusing on right now. And then we are always focusing on trying to make our neighborhoods more clean. So, we are expanding our neighborhood cleanup program in different ways all of the time. So through and trying to offer more free recycling options just to make our city cleaner and divert things from the landfill. Just because going to the landfill costs a whole lot and also our landfill is filling up quickly. So we've been working with neighborhoods to where we will pay for things and remove more barriers to encourage people to recycle things like mattresses and electronics. So yeah, those are kind of things that we're currently working on right now. But yeah,
Angela, I have a question for you.
yeah.
How many HOAs or communities do you normally work with? And then are you creating like a toolkit for the strategic plan? I love that. I would love to hear more about that. Because I have quite a few HOAs and communities, and I think that that is something that, unless you truly have done a strategic plan before,
Mhm.
not everyone, and even if you have, sometimes you just don't know those steps. And I kind of
Yes.
like that idea for the
Mhm.
communities.
Yes, absolutely. So in Springfield, we have lots and lots of HOAs. Springfield is relatively large. I think our population is 160,000. So what the city has done is broken it down into these neighborhood service areas. And I want to say there's around 30 of them, but 24 of them have formed official boards and become a completely volunteer-based neighborhood association, which is
Mhm.
what we call it similar to an HOA, but there's not like those rules and regulations pieces,
Right.
but you still have like those neighborhood events. So I work with 24 of them. Um, then in addition to like the presentation, something that I put together for neighborhoods is a little like workbook that they can work through and create a strategic plan each year. And that's something I can absolutely send
I would,
to you.
yeah, I
Yeah,
wrote down your
me
Yeah.
too.
email. So yeah, I want to
Yeah.
see that
Mm.
because
Yes. Yeah.
I'd love to be able to do something like that.
Yeah. So if you want to just email me, I will absolutely send you both like the presentation and also just this little workbook to kind of, I mean, it's not all encompassing, but
Right.
it has areas where they
It's a
can write down
starting
things and it
point.
has, yes, it has discussion questions too. When you're looking at like creating a vision statement, a discussion question of like, okay, what does your ideal neighborhood look like? So then you can create that vision. So it's not all encompassing, but it does give you like starting point and discussion where you can do that. So I'll absolutely send that to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's outstanding idea.
I
Yeah.
love how we're all kind of working on different things, but things that all of us could recreate in our areas. So many great ideas. I love this.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I know we're a little bit past 11, but I wanted to ask if you guys have looked into the U.S. Chamber of Connection. Something to look into. The U.S. Chamber of Connection has created a workbook on, they've done all this research on how people connect, and they've discovered these 6 points of connection. I'll email you screenshots of like the 2 slides in their presentation that really impressed me. But they've also created a guidebook on how to onboard newcomers, and the connections that newcomers are looking to make. like with a community of play. They're looking for the racquetball club or the pickleball club or the running club. But they have created this whole guidebook for cities on how to get newcomers connected to the communities they're looking to get connected to. So I'll send that to you.
Love that. Thank
That's
It's
you.
if
really
you're on
good stuff.
LinkedIn. Yeah, if you're on LinkedIn, that's Aaron Hurst, and
Yes,
he
yes.
comes from a marketing background. He used to do marketing for
Mm.
the Gap, I think, right? And some other clients. So he's totally come at this from a marketing perspective. But yeah, there's been a lot of interest. It's a great name choice, right? And so yeah, a lot of interest in that, and a real interesting research publication there. Well, gosh, I appreciate your enthusiasm. Appreciate you being on here and sharing today. I'll share the recording out to those that are on our 400 member distribution list. That's community development people across the state that we know about, and things. And hopefully some will watch the video and get enthused as well. But thanks for your willingness to participate and be on here. It's an
Thank you,
hour,
David.
and your time is valuable, and you probably spent some time thinking about what you're going to say too. So appreciate your investment of time and things. So this is exciting. Love to hear the reports. These are all really, really good things. Love to see this happening across our state. You're helping to make Missouri a more neighborly state, and I sure appreciate your hard work.
Thank you for hosting and setting this up, David.
Yeah,
It might help when you send out the video, if there's a teaser in the email, hey, do you want to know more about um, Snow Angels, public art, Dear Manchester, strategic plans for neighborhoods, then here's the group for you.
that's right. Okay.
This is what, yeah, because I confess that if somebody sends me a recording of something I didn't attend, I don't always take the time to watch it, especially if I see it's an hour. But if there's a teaser in there that tells me, the things we talked about,
Mhm.
highlights,
Yes,
I'm probably more likely to.
you're
Me
all in.
too.
Well, that's a lesson for me, and I'll try to remember that until I actually send it out. So hopefully, I'll remember that longer than I have some other things today. So,
Uh, Thank you,
well, all
David.
right.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate everyone that was on here, and those who
Thank
spoke,
you.
and those who just listened in. We are glad to have you. All right.
Thank you.
Have
Take
a great
care.
weekend, guys.
You too. Bye.
Bye.